Hey, everybody. This is Kevin Davidson, your host for Kevin's Corner, real estate from a marketing perspective, and this is episode number 28. So if you guys haven't seen a podcast in a while, go to YouTube channel, Kevin's Corner, real estate from a marketing perspective, and check it out. I got a really exciting podcast for you guys today. We're going to talk to a real good friend of mine that helped me actually get started doing this podcast. And then we're going to have a return guest of Wendy Santana, the branch manager from the Stewart Title Richmond office and the newest escrow officer extraordinaire at the Richmond office, who also speaks Spanish. So I always have to start this off by saying that I don't do this podcast for me or to promote myself. I do it to promote the real estate agents that Stewart Title works with in the Fort Bend County area, as well as the vendors that support the offices and the events and classes that I do. So if you're a real estate agent seeing this podcast, or you are a vendor that operates in the Fort Bend County area and you would like to be on the podcast, love to have you. Give me a call, 832-654-0527, or email me at kevin.davidson@stewart.com. And I also would like to thank the people that for whom this podcast would not be possible: Jennifer Smitis, Caitlin Korner, Devaney Devon, and of course Wendy Santana. They are the reason why I am able to do this. So let's get started. Kevin's Corner, real estate from a marketing perspective, episode number 28. This distinguished gentleman sitting right next to me, his first name is Daray. He's going to tell you his last name because he said I couldn't get it right. I couldn't pronounce it. But he is an amazing guy. He does a lot of things, and he is, at least in my mind, 50% of the reason why I'm doing this podcast. So introduce yourself.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Mr. Davidson, first and foremost, I want to
Mr. Davidson, Kevin. Mr.
Yes, sir. So I'm Southern. I'm from Texas, and we like to be real generous here. But I appreciate that. I just first and foremost want to give all glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here.
Sure.
And then my name is Daray. Last name is Olalia. That's Nigerian origin. I am a real estate investor with a few other trades on the side.
Okay. First of all, don't be shy. He is a real estate investor. He is a podcaster, and he is a real estate agent. And then on the side, he likes to do notary services for Wendy at the Richmond office.
That is
correct. Okay, so you left out a few things. So let's start off with, you told me earlier that you kind of started real estate investing and podcasting about the same time. Why did you start getting into real estate investing?
How long do we have, Kevin?
15 minutes.
Okay, well, I'll give you the short end of the story. I was a Big Four accountant, and the reason I became a Big Four accountant was because I was taught in school to get good grades and go and work for one of the biggest corporate companies in the world. And if you work there for 5 to 10 years, you'll start making anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000, and that was my goal. So I didn't care about what the job was. I was good with numbers, so I thought, why not? So I became an external auditor for a company, a Big Four accounting firm, and I worked like a slave. I hated my job. I hated my coworkers. I hated my bosses. You would think that it was amazing, Kevin. They give you an Amex card. You wear a shirt and tie every day, and you travel a lot. I had a lot of trips to do audits in different places like San Francisco, Arizona, a lot of different cities around the U.S., and it was gruesome. It was tiresome. You would get these per diems for dinner. They'd be like $50 to $75, so you'd get steak and lobster every night, but at the same time, again, you're working till 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. So it took a toll on me, and I realized 2 years in that I was never actually going to be successful. Actually, what's funny is my first check, Kevin, I opened up my first check and I looked at it, and I knew how much I was supposed to make, and I was calculating like what I was going to do with it and all this stuff, and so much money was taken out of my first check, and I was just like, what's going on? And the first person I called, absolutely, the first person I called was my mom. I was like, Mom, like there's so much money taken out of my check. What is this? And she was like, yeah, you're an adult. It's called taxes. I was like, oh my goodness, like 50% of my money was going to taxes. And I was just like, man, this makes no sense, because like I was fresh out of college, right? Mm-hmm. So I had car payments, I have student loan payments. I have rent, and if you have a home, you have a mortgage. So all these payments are going to the bank, and I'm just like, man. So like 50% of my money is going to Uncle Sam, and 50% of my money is going to the bank. And at the end of the year, I don't have any money to really save or invest or do anything for myself. Right. And at the end of the year as well, I'm not really fulfilled in what I'm doing. So I started feeling like, what's the point of this? I felt like a hamster on a hamster wheel.
So you returned your what you got back out of the job from a financial standpoint was the reason why you were not happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I read a book one day, and I hated reading. I hadn't read a single book my entire adult life.
Unless it's about music, I can't read either.
Right.
I hate it.
I couldn't do it. And I read a book one day, and that book was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
I think almost everybody's either read it or should read it.
Right. Yeah. And after that day, like I started reading about a book a week. I read about 50 books a year. I've read over 300 books. Like I'm a voracious reader because of that book. That book allowed me to buy my first property. And I bought my first property 30 days after reading that book.
30 days, wow. So that's why you became a real estate investor.
That is.
Now, what was the reason and vision for the podcast?
So I ran into another hurdle. Now I was no longer employed, right? So I was working for myself. Or was I working for myself at the time? I was not working for myself. I got fired from my Big Four accounting job, and there's a whole story about that. I'll talk about that like on everybody's podcast. So we'll save that. I got fired from my Big Four accounting job, and I went to go find another job while I was building my portfolio to build my passive income so that I didn't have to work anymore. And I realized that buying a property that costs $200,000 and you're putting $20,000 to $40,000 down, buying that to make, let's just say $250, which is what I was making, dollars a month in profit, right?
Because you were renting it.
Yes, because I was renting it. I didn't have another $30,000 to put down to make $250 a month, and I needed about 20 more $30,000 down payments to get to my goal. So I was just like, dang, like this is gonna take way too long. Yeah. What can I do? So I started looking at different ways to invest, and I stumbled upon a way to invest called syndications, apartment syndications, large apartment syndications. So I joined a group and I started syndicating apartments in Dallas. And my first deal was a 300-unit apartment complex, and it was for 302 units. It was for $40 million. And I was responsible for raising $1 million. Let me take that back. I was responsible for raising $500,000. I told the lead investor, again, this is Daray, who knows nothing about investing. I only have a few single family homes at the time. I've never raised money from I've never asked anybody for money, but I was so hungry. I was so ready to like be successful. So I told the lead investor, I was like, I could raise $1 million. Like, why not? Like, I know a lot of people. And he was like, well, I'll put you down for $500,000, Daray, and we'll see where it goes. So the next few months, I'm building out a course because I want to help other people house hack, because I started house hacking. I bought a fourplex in Dallas for $500,000. This is my third property, and people went crazy because of how I was able to buy that property and live for free and all this stuff. So I started house hacking. So I was building out a course to house hack, and I started raising money for this deal. And I was doing both of these major projects to quit my job. That was always the goal. I needed to quit my job. So I thought that these two projects would allow me to quit my job. So as I hired my mentor to help me raise money for this deal, teach me about apartments, the first thing that he had me do was, before I do any money raising, before I learn about syndications and how to talk to investors and how to make sure that I get the deal done, right? And I pay this guy like $12,000, and I didn't have any money. Like, I put it all on my cards because I was just like, if I can do this, I'll be successful for the rest of my life. So I was like, imagine paying somebody all this money, right? And then the first thing that they tell you to do before they tell you to start investing, or before they tell you how they invest, the first thing that they tell you to do is to get on social media and build a profile.
It's part of the process.
And I'm just like, dude, I just paid you $12,000. What do you mean, like, go like get on Twitter and Instagram? Like, I don't have time for that. Like, teach me what I need to know so that I can make money.
Right.
Because I was obsessed. And he was just like, slow down.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. He was just like, slow down. Like, I'm teaching you the process. It's kind of like that wax on, wax off, Mr. Miyagi from the Karate Kid movie. I don't know if you guys remember that, but and I was just like, all right, let me just listen to what this guy's telling me. And my mentor, his name is Joe Fearless. You guys can look him up. And he's actually one of the biggest real estate investors in the world. And he had Joe Fearless.
Oh, from Bigger Pockets.
From Bigger Pockets, yep. And he has the longest running daily podcast in the world. It's been running for like 12 years daily. My old
boss used to be on it on a regular basis.
Right, exactly.
Steve Rosenberg.
Yep. Yeah. Steve was on my podcast as well. Yep. So ultimately, Joe told me I needed to build a platform, and I was so mad. I was like, no, Joe, I want to start investing this, and that. He was like, all right, well, just do what I tell you to do and see what happens. So the reason that I started the podcast was because my mentor told me to. I didn't want to. So I started the podcast because the way that he invested was by making friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the more friends you had, the easier it was to go about life, the easier it was to do business.
Well, there's more people in your sphere that grows that can help you grow yourself.
Right. And I started seeing so many benefits of what he was showing me. Like within the first year of my podcast, I took off. Like I had hit iTunes Business Podcast Top 100. And I was just like, man, like this is so crazy. It's so dope. Now I have income from the podcast, right? The course that I was building out, now I have an audience to sell that course to. Like there were so many things that fell in place because I had the podcast, but this happened later on. Mm-hmm. Again, earlier on, it was like, grow this podcast, start raising money for this deal, and build out your course. So again, I started the podcast because my mentor told me to. It ended up being a great success, and I was able to benefit from that, but I didn't want to do it. And your podcast is all about marketing, and my podcast was to be more marketable, to be able to raise money.
Very nice. So for everybody listening to this out there, it is possible to succeed, even when you have to do things you don't want to do.
Absolutely.
All right. So this, real quick, you are also a real estate agent. So who are you with?
KW.
KW. So KW means Keller Williams.
Keller Williams.
And which one is that?
Which one is what?
Which Keller Williams?
Oh, Signature.
And Signature is over off of 290?
It's in Katy.
In Katy.
Yep, it's in Katy. Okay. You're kind of not close, but
no,
it's cool.
Well, I was thinking of the other one. Yeah. There's another one off of 290, so
it's all good.
Okay. So he is a professional real estate investor. He is a professional podcaster, and he is a professional real estate agent, along with helping Wendy out with notary services when she needs for closing transactions. And this podcast is about marketing from a real estate perspective, or real estate from a marketing perspective. So what do you do? What would you advise everybody to do that's watching this if they wanted to grow their business? How would you suggest they do it?
Well, I would take some advice that my mentor gave me and figure out a way to become friends with as many people as you can.
And doing that means social media, it means website, it means networking, it means all of the above.
And going about it in a systematic way.
What do you mean?
I'm a math-driven person. I told you my background is in accounting. Yeah. I'm a very math-driven person. Everything I do is it's math-intensive. So if I want to close a certain number of deals a month, I want to know from what number I need to start at to work backwards. Mm-hmm. So if someone is looking to market their business, well, what is their goal and how do they work backwards to get to that goal? So if it's an agent, for instance, if you want to close 2 deals a month, then what does the top of that pipeline look like, right?
I teach agents the same thing when they tell me, well, I can't afford to do that. So I okay, hang on. So if it costs you $50 a month, and over a 12-month period, that's $600, and you get one lead from that that turns into a $300,000 deal,
right? That's
$9,000 commission before taxes and brokerage fees. Let's say it's $7,000 you walk away with. You're telling me you're not willing to spend $6 to make $7? Oh, well, when you put it like that, yeah.
Right. They have to understand. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a little mind game sometimes because people don't want to spend money. People want to invest money, and if they don't believe it's an investment, they're not gonna do it. So if they understand that at the end of this, the system works, whatever that system is, that I will get one deal in the next 12 months by spending this $50 a month, then I'm gonna do it. But if they doubt the system, or if they doubt themselves, because that's another thing, it may not be the system at all. It may be doubting yourself and your ability to implement whatever it is that you're being taught. So that's again where your money may not be spent, and do whatever it is that they're asking. So
yeah, it's a mindset. It kind of goes along the lines with the disc profiling. You familiar with that?
I am. I take that test every year.
Yeah. So I'm a strong CS with
me as well.
A lot of I in me, because I can.
So you're a strong everything.
Well, I don't consider it myself to be a strong D. I'm just teasing. I'm learning how to do that. But yeah, I'm a numbers person too, but I adapted to when I started my career. I never thought that I would be doing public speaking or teaching CE classes, or, for that matter, teaching real estate agents how to grow their business through marketing campaigns. But when you realize that you have a gift for it, or you're good at it, people want to listen to you. People want to, So that's how I help the Richmond office and the Sugar Land office grow, by getting agents' attention and helping them grow because none of the brokerages teach this. Brokerages don't teach. They teach them how to stay out of trouble. They teach them how to write a contract. They'll put them at the desk to answer the phone calls to get leads, but they don't actually teach them. You need a company name, a company logo, a company slogan. Who's your target market? How are you going to market yourself? What money are you going to spend? What kind of schedule do you have to do that? They don't teach any of that. And I've been doing that for about 7 years now, and since I got to Stewart Title, if I don't meet with 6 to 8 agents on a weekly basis, that's a slow week for me. People are they want help, especially in this market. You know what I'm saying? So, but you have to do the work. You have to create the Facebook pages and the social media pages and the website, the blog page, the video, the YouTube channel, and you have to network. You have to get out there. People tell me all the time, you're everywhere. Well, you have to be.
Omnipresent.
If you're not everywhere, you're not meeting people, then no one knows who you are. A lot of the things that happen at Sugar Land and Richmond office were just because people know who I am. Right. And then Wendy's getting out there and getting her name and face out there, and so is Adriana. Ooh. And so that's going to help them, instead of people calling me and going, who can I send this to? They're going to call me and go, what's Wendy's email address? Or what's Adriana's email address? Because they know us. Right. That's what it's all about. So do you have places, social media, podcast, anywhere that people can go to find you?
You can go to beforethemillions.com if you guys want to check out any of my content. And my real estate website is urbanwealth.com.
Nice. And are you up for helping people? Since you're a real estate agent, you will help buyers, sellers, investors?
I will. And if I am not in a position to help you, I will direct you to the right person to help you.
He's in a position to help you. He can do it all. So can you give me your phone number?
Absolutely. I have a phone number I can give you.
Yeah, give me a phone number.
Yeah. It's 832-844-0887.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you very much for being on the podcast. This is Daray. He's a real estate investor. He is a podcaster. He is a real estate agent. And he helps Wendy Santana at West Notary Services.
I do.
So if he can do it, you can do it. We'll be back in about 2 seconds with segment number 2 of episode number 28 of Kevin's Corner, Real Estate from a Marketing Perspective. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Kevin.
I appreciate it. Hey, everybody. This is Kevin Davidson, your episode 4, Kevin's Corner, Real Estate from a Marketing Perspective. And this is segment number 2 of episode number 28. So the visual on the camera just got a lot better. We have Wendy Santana, the branch manager from Richmond, Stewart Title, and the newest addition to the Stewart Title Richmond office, Adriana Alzate, who speaks Spanish, and I'll let her show you that in a few minutes. So why don't you guys introduce yourself real quick. You go first, Wendy.
Hi, I am Wendy Santana. I am the branch manager at our Stewart Richmond location. I have been in the title industry for almost 19 years. So if you are looking for a knowledgeable escrow officer, or seasoned escrow officer, may I say. You can find me at 2116 Thompson Road, Suite E1 in Richmond, Texas.
Yeah, right off of 59, about 2 miles off of 59. And go ahead, Adriana.
Hi, my name is Adriana Alzate, and I am the new escrow officer bilingual. Hablo español para mi gente latina. And I'm actually, been in the business for over 10 years. So if you guys, need a bilingual, Spanish speaking, clients out there who want to, are looking into buying a home or any kind of property, I'm more than welcome to assist and help you through a nice, good, smooth closing.
Awesome. So
It's 30 years between us.
I know, 30
I
years
love
of experience
that.
between two people, and one of them speaks Spanish. So if there's something that we can't provide for you from the Richmond office, it can't be provided. So we got everything we need right now. I would love a Mandarin speaking escrow officer. So if anybody knows anybody, let me know. But in Richmond, we have Wendy and we have Adriana, and we also have Janice and Gracie. So why don't you tell them what Janice and Gracie do?
Yes, Janice Cameron has been with us for 10 years. She does all of our order entry. She's way more than a front desk receptionist. She is amazing. She puts so many smiles on everybody's face. Definitely a first impression and last impression. Gracie has been with us for about a year and a half. She's my processor and funder. She's awesome. She actually handles the transaction for the whole beginning of it, and by the back end, when the closer gets involved, then that's when you would get me. I definitely try to reach out to all the agents that give me contracts to introduce myself, so they don't have to wait until 3 days before closing to get to know me, just so we can build that relationship.
Yeah, and Adriana, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your background since you're new here?
Well,
What'd you do before you came to see us, to work for us?
Well, I didn't have a job temporarily, but before that,
Haven't we all?
Yeah, we all been in that position. So, but before that, I was working at another title company, but then I was also doing hair, which I do hair on the side.
What do you mean by do hair? Are you a hairstylist?
I'm a hairstylist.
Really?
So I have a license.
I
so.
don't really need your help, do I?
But I know there's a lot of women out there, in the real estate, even clients too. Hey, if y'all need to get y'all's hair done, I'm here.
I didn't know we were going to promote that, but okay.
No, I'm just playing. No, so I was kind of in between, I have worked in other title companies, but then I kind of was let go, because sometimes, I know the real estate can kind of, slow
It's
down
cyclical.
a
It
little
goes up, goes
bit.
down,
Yeah, it
goes
goes up and
down.
down. So they had a downsize. So, I had my cosmetology license, so I just decided to dive in to do that in the meantime. And then, of course, then Stewart came up, and I've worked for Stewart in the past, back in
Really?
2006.
Where?
The one in Galleria, which I told you last time.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're on a podcast now,
Yeah.
so we're going to say it again. And what did you do for
Yeah.
the Galleria location?
I was a policy. I did the policy department, which was the kind of like the last of it from when the transaction happens. It's
I
like
see,
the
okay.
very end.
Okay.
So I was just I didn't know much about real estate, and we were just talking about how you get a job and you're just doing what you're told to, and I didn't know what was really behind of what I was doing. And
Right.
of course, I ended up leaving I actually transitioned to Stewart Lender Services, which is Stewart but is separate. So I learned more on actually how everything works by doing HUDs and communicating with the
So
clients.
you got a lot of knowledge about a lot of the back end
Yeah,
stuff.
so I started kind of asking questions, why do we do this, why do we do that, because I wanted to know more of what was I doing just by, I didn't know what was I doing, I was just doing, but I wanted to know more behind of it, and I actually started learning a lot, being more knowledgeable, and I kind of actually enjoyed it, so.
Okay.
And I
that's-
wanted to move up within the company too.
Which motivated you to come back when Stewart came looking for you.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I said, yeah, for sure.
So, Wendy, why don't you tell people about you have, like myself, you're a little bit unique in the sense that you'll actually, a lot of escrow officers feel like they don't have the time to help an agent understand the process, but you actually will tell agents,
Of course.
if you'd like to learn how to do this the right way, I'd be more than happy to sit down. Why don't you tell people about that?
Well, just like you said earlier, your brokerage gives you certain things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But getting your license doesn't necessarily mean that you understand the title side of it. So when I'm sending agents taxes, commitments, and closing disclosures, and they have no idea of what they're looking at, especially with brand new agents, when I get an agent that comes in my office and says, hey, this is my first deal, I want to sit down with them if they're willing to build that relationship. Let them trust into me that I am showing them something that they have no idea about, because no one's going to ask. You find out over the course of years of learning, I wouldn't say years, but 5-6 transactions, trial and error. So to have someone to sit down with you, show you how to make yourself more presentable to your clients, because at the end of the day, we're a team. You bring them in, we want to get them to the closing table, but we want to also make you look like the superstar that you are, because that is my job at the end of the day, is to make your clients have their transaction as seamless as possible from the first time they walk in to the moment that they leave, because there are so many different hands in the pot. There's the agents and the brokers and the lenders and the title companies and surveys and HOAs, just so many different things that these buyers that are first-time home buyers have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, but we make it happen, right? So for an agent to come in and be like, wow, I really appreciate you sitting down and offering the time, because like you said, we are busy, but for me to give 15, 20 minutes or, 30 minutes with somebody, for them to be able to say, hey, can you explain this to me, without feeling as if they're being rushed or...
Well, they appreciate it.
Right. And I love that, because as an escrow officer, you want to build relationships, and anybody can sell title insurance. And I've said it before, it's about building trust with your agent, knowing that you're going to be there, you're going to stay late, you're going to work that file and make it seem, even if there's 1,000 bumps in the road, no one would ever know, because you make it look
right. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust.
right.
Unfortunately, there's almost a title company on every corner, so agents have choices. They don't have to use X or Y. They can whatever. So when you create that relationship with them and you provide them with value that they're not getting from our competitors, they remember that.
Of course.
Which is why I do what I do, and so you do what you do, and I think it goes a long way. When you flip the coin over, can you give the audience a little bit of idea of some of the things that agents might have expectations of that aren't necessarily accurate? Like, title companies not responsible for this, or, just ways to make the transaction smoother, things that they can do on their end.
I think that any realtor that knows or has been in the industry understands that there are steps to everything. So as long as the realtor is entrusting in me to stay in communication with them and give them updates and let them know exactly what's going on, it makes them, I want to be able to give updates to a realtor before they're asking me. So when they're laying in bed at night, because I know realtors' minds, you're doing 1,000 different things. So was that survey approved? Did they get their HOA ordered? With us giving like weekly updates and trying to keep them not having to worry because they already know means a lot to me, because I definitely take pride in customer service. I want agents to know that they're going to be a priority to me. I'm not going to miss a voicemail or an email. It might take me a little while if I'm busy to get back to you, but even if I'm there 8 o'clock at night, I'm going to call you if you called me that day, because you're not going to go unnoticed. It doesn't matter. I go above and beyond. And I think that
is the
my
key.
realtors and the relationships that I've created over these years, they appreciate and respect me, because we are a team. You can't come in being an agent expecting unrealistic things from someone that they can't be provided. So when you talk to an agent and say, hey, I'm sorry, I know this is what you want, but sometimes the answer is no, and we just have no other choice. And I try to make those no's turn into a yes as much as I can.
Well, everybody, no matter what their experiences are, everybody has their own mindset of expectations, and
Right.
if that's not entirely accurate, you have to be able to let them know that in a nice professional way.
Absolutely.
Adriana, why don't you tell everybody in the audience what you want them to know about you as how you would approach servicing them as a real estate agent and a title company, but do it in Spanish.
So, a ver, mis servicios que yo ofrezco para mis clientes es estar atentivo con las transacciones, comunicación, si tienen cualquier pregunta, voy a estar pendiente si me llaman o correo electrónico, voy a hacer lo más posible para, responder, lo pronto posible en el mismo día. También, si va a haber cosas que van a pasar en las transacciones que, a veces va a haber así bumps, como pozos, así que tenemos que tratar de aclarar, pero aquí estoy para hacer los servicios para todas las transacciones que ustedes van a traer para nosotros, y yo voy a hacer lo posible para que todo salga bien finalmente para los clientes.
Awesome. I have no idea what she just said, but I know it was good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm really excited to have Adriana on our team. I think that next year her and I are going to be out in front of all of you guys. We're going to be doing so much networking. And if there's anything that either one of us can ever do for you guys, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach me at 281-341-0404. And it's my pleasure to help you in any way that I can.
Adriana, give me your phone and email address.
My email address is adriana.alzate@stewart.com, and it's spelled ADRIANA.ALZ as in zebra ATE@stewart.com, and my number is 281-340, right?
281-341-0404.
Sorry.
It's only her third week, so we will get her there.
So you can reach them both at the same phone number, but they have separate email addresses. Did you give me your email?
No, I did not. Wendy with a Y .Santana@stewart.com.
So from my perspective, as far as the business development officer or I call myself a marketing professional, if it's not already been, Richmond is going to be a focus for 2024 now that we have Adriana on staff, because the fact of the matter is 50% of the population of the city of Houston speaks Spanish, and I don't. So I get all the time. I know a lot of agents that either speak Spanish or deal with Hispanic clients, and they won't unreluctantly won't use us because we can't speak the language. Mm-hmm. Now we can. Yeah. All right. And just because Adriana is in the Richmond location does not mean that we can't close the deal anywhere in the city that you want it to be, whether it be at the Sugarland office, the Richmond office, or Daray over there sitting in the corner looking like he'd rather be somewhere else. He can do a mobile closing. We'll get it done anywhere in the city of Houston. Now you have your Spanish connection. Okay, guys? So look for Stewart Title Richmond big time in 2024. A lot of the events that I do, a lot of the classes I do, a lot of the networking things I do, you'll start seeing these two ladies at them now. One or the other or both. So keep your eyes and ears open. And again, you have a choice in title companies in this market to protect your business and grow your business. You have to partner with someone that is adding value to your business and feels that the growth of your business is affecting the growth of theirs. And that's definitely what you get from the three of us from Richmond. So give us a call. Give them the phone number one more time.
281-341-0404.
Okay, guys. So this has been Kevin's Corner, Real Estate from a Marketing Perspective, episode number 28. I want to thank Daray. I'm not going to say his last name, but Daray, the investor, the podcaster, and the real estate agent as well.
Mobile notary. too.
Mobile notary. Sorry, I left that out.
No,
My
I
bad.
said mogul. No, legendary. He's amazing, and I'm blessed to have him. He's never told me no. He's always been there and dropped everything. So I really appreciate that. Building that relationship, 3 years now, it means a lot to me.
And he does have an interesting story. So we're going to bring him back early next year, and the entire podcast is going to be devoted to Daray and his story. So you guys will be able to hear what's going on. So episode number 28, again, if you're a real estate agent or a real estate vendor that works in the real estate industry in the Fort Bend County area, and you're watching this and you say, hey, I want to be on the podcast, give me a call, 832-654-0527, or email me at kevin.davidson@stewart.com. Don't wait very long because my calendar for this podcast fills up very quickly. Also, again, I have to mention that I couldn't do this podcast if it wasn't for Jennifer Smidas, Caitlin Kornick, Devin, Wendy Santana, go Wendy, Adriana, and the rest of the support staff for both of the offices. So episode number 28 will be available on my YouTube channel, Kevin's Corner Real Estate from a Marketing Perspective, early next week. So you guys have fun. Hope you liked the episode. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.